We've been monitoring as the comic industry has been collapsing upon itself over the last several years. And of course, that has been escalating. That's how these things always go. It becomes a sort of compounding thing where it's exponential, and that collapse goes faster once that starts tipping. It doesn't go in like a straight line. It's very interesting to watch and how crazy fast this is happening all around us as well. Now, I've covered secret retailers talking to me, people who have actually closed and gone out of business. And now Bounding Into Comics has an article about a retailer who actually wrote an open letter to the industry that they need to make massive changes. This is so huge today. Let's get into the news in just a moment. My name is John Delarose. I'm a #1 best-selling author and award-winning comic creator. I'm running Top Grift on Indiegogo. And this is a parody comic about online grifters, and it's going to be a lot of fun. You can see that we're making fun of Andrew Tate pretty heavily here. We had his comic book, which was $100. So please sign up for this. I'm going to put the link in the description below. We're going to go live in the next few days here. I'm waiting for a couple of the covers to come in with the colors, and then we're just going to go off to the races and sell this beautiful book. Mike S. Miller from DC's Injustice, from Shadowversity's Shadow of the Conqueror, is doing the art of the full book, interiors, and the main cover also. So very exciting news. That link's going to be right in the description below. Thanks, guys. Okay, here it is. The comic retailer warns the industry is on the brink of major collapse unless changes are enacted. Now, this is a retailer who owns, I guess, Coliseum Comics, which has 11 locations, as I understand it. So very big. Now, there's about 3,000 comic book shops total out there. And actually only about 500 of those are comic shops that carry comics and, like, as a major part of their business, actually stock comic books, believe it or not. There's a lot that just, you know, are Funko Pop stores or board game stores that, you know, they'll carry comics for subscribers and things like that. But there's only 500 out there that just, like, you can go and browse comic books for real. It's 2024, and I'm more than concerned. Marvel and DC, you blew it. Or maybe you just succeeded in your plan to kill off an American art form of which you've been able stewards over the last 80 years. Now, that's the problem, is the corporates. It's baffling that something so prolific has ushered to the chopping block and executed. Strong accusations? No, just the unvarnished truth as new comic sales find new lows. They're that bad. Worse, you've gutted an army of passionate retailers who have worked in this biz for decades for close to poverty rate wages in many cases. To put such a system of advocates in every state and major city in America and around much of the world would cost a fortune, but it happened organically to your benefit, and in gratitude, you've strip-mined what little profit there was in favor of short-term goals and chasing corporate bonuses. We, the retailers, cultivated the fan bases the same way underappreciated creators created precious IPs that have made their parent companies obscene amounts of money. It was a biosystem of fans feeding off Wednesday excitement, eager to spend money not only on the comics that drew them in, but the t-shirts, the lunchboxes, the mouse pads, the Spider-Man or Batman on them. Fans, retailers, and creators have all suffered under recent corporate mandates. Where did it go off the rails? It's not such a conundrum to anyone who, with 2 active brain cells and a list of back issues they need to complete their runs. Comics, first and foremost, has always been entertainment. Sure, collectible entertainment, which justifies the cost to entertainment ratio. But along the way, the immediate sale and false bolstering of numbers through variant covers, convoluted events, incessant reboots left considerations of the fans behind. Characters swapping gender bending and changing sexual orientation of beloved characters fell flat with the Wednesday Warriors who supported the industry for decades. The crowd of new readers the changes were meant to attract didn't translate for a one-to-one swap, leaving a declining customer base. To make things more difficult on the retail side, in a very deliberate abuse of both the FOC system and the retailer's goodwill towards publishers, we constantly have to FOC two issues out rather than the next issue. This is the ordering system they're talking about here. I'm reading it for the most part, but I'm going to break this down. Comic retailers have to put in their orders about 3 months in advance. So when your issue 1 is hitting out on the stands to see how a book actually sells, they've already had to put in their order for issue 3, which means they know that they have to get at least a 50% drop on sales. But if something ends up being hot, they're kind of out of luck at that point, and they have to, like, hope they can get reorders. If something ends up really cold, well, that 50%, they're still over ordering and they're going to lose money there. It's a disaster for retailers on that level. That's what he's talking about. This makes ordering a guess. It is. Throw in 4 covers on issue number 5, then 6 covers on issue number 6. one of which is by Art Germ, another by Scotty Young. Then 7 has 5 covers with neither cover artist. 8 has a celebrity appearance cover. It's a constant and deliberate shell game, forcing retailers to guess on every next issue. Rough. How do we fix this, assuming we can canoe back over the waterfall at this point? A friend of mine recently moved into a condo and took up an advisory position on a board. The pool was in need of repair, the roofs needed replacing, and the facades and landscapings had seen better days. There was no money to make the repairs, and only the solution was to add $150 a month to everyone's condo fees to pay for the repairs. The meeting that followed, but the announcement was less than friendly as people complained about the extra costs. My buddy explained that everyone had been living off the equity in the condos and putting no money into their condos, thereby devaluing them. And here we are in the comic book industry facing the same conundrum. Marvel and DC have strip mined the comic industry for better part of a decade, putting no money into the market to sustain them for years. Much like the condo association, an investment is needed by those who lived off the equity for years. If you want to market in 2 years, yes, 2 years tops, the time to invest now. We need to revitalize this market. And he gives a few examples. $3.99 comics for the deal. $2.99 would be better. $4.99 is a non-starter with too many fans. Fewer covers. I know this will get pushed back for every corner, but without a focus, is about value to customers, not what's in between them. Max of 2 covers. While you're at it, give us a hook to sell, not another commission piece with no indication of what's inside the comics. Editors who are editors. Oh boy. Hi, Heather. Too many stories are lackluster and agenda-driven. Too many covers are non-sketch, drivel to no sales point, and too much interior art is amateurish. It's clear neither Marvel or DC has a publishing plan beyond the current reboot. The characters are iconic for a reason. The movies never got traction until they leaned into what made the characters decades-long successes. Change is good for the story, but inevitably, if you touch base with what brought them in. Gender swaps, sexual orientation changes, outright changes to who's in the suit are short-term headline grabbers, but without long-term sales and very few exceptions. Tell stories without proselytizing. I beat this drum for a decade and more. Here we are, chasing away a large portion of our customer base with every new tale, as they want entertainment, not a serialized sermon. Limit new characters. Fresh and blood is good, but it's become obvious that the characters who aren't organic to stories, they're shoehorned in for a bump in sales. Dance with who brung you in. 7, I'd ask for a minimized advertised price, but we're not in that world anywhere more. You've made deals with the devil, which is also on you. 8, the big one, discount and shipping. Marvel and DC are screwed with this market. So if you want to continue to have people dumb enough to labor for 60 hours a week for poverty wages and advocate for your precious IPs, you need to invest in that market. You strip mined all the cash out of the direct market and retailers are bleeding from the bone. We need your investment or this market goes away. No, you can't just sell online, as a minimum production cost won't be met with online only. Investment means putting books back on stands. Wow. So here we are, a scathing deal, and he gives a full plan further on for what he would like to see here, with a minimum for each title by store. Each issue over that minimum is sold to brick and mortar retailers at 60 cents. This puts books on the stands, minimizes cost to retailers, helps with print runs. Why should you listen to any of this? Because your livelihood is tethered to the retail community. Rome is on fire. Fiddle or get on the phone with some of your key retail partners and find out what it's like, but be prepared for some ugly stories. Wow. Without some immediate action, he sees 25% of retail stores closing at the end of first quarter 2024. That's a lot of companies out there. And I've heard this story across the board, my friends. It's big trouble for the comic book industry, and Marvel and DC are at fault, and Marvel and DC are doing nothing to fix it. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. I read this whole story because I thought this was too important even to give much commentary on. I gave a little bit where I needed to, just to explain things, but this is huge for comic shops, guys. Spread the word, and hopefully we can save some of these people's businesses. Very sad. Leave a comment, hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.